We'll find out this week, in all probability, what the judge says in this case, and whether Fox is going to continue as the right-wing crazy channel, or whether Prudence and Elizabeth and James might take the thing over. And it's going to be very interesting. Donald Trump is out talking about his economic plans. He's going to put a 200% tariff on Caterpillar if they move their production down to Mexico. Good luck with that. I mean, I agree with the sentiment. I don't have a problem with it. It might be a good way to keep a company here, but just throwing these things around, I mean, that's not how you do tariffs. You don't just this is like how Trump hires and fires people on Twitter. It's just pretty bizarre. But as he's trying to claim that he's going to put the economy back together, 400 of the world's leading economists, including Claudia Golden, who became the first female solo winner of the Nobel Prize in economics last October, Sean O'Keefe, who served as the deputy director of the Office of Management and Budget and later led NASA under President George W. Bush. By the way, this is very similar to a letter that was signed last week by 90 of the top business leaders in America. And they note some of her, like her economic plan to restore the expanded child tax credit, create a new tax credit that would give lower middle-income families with a newborn $6,000 slash their taxes by $1,500. She's also has plans to take on high prescription drug prices, expensive grocery bills, and Wall Street's home buying spree, which is driving up homelessness. And she's got a rally tomorrow in Pennsylvania where she says that she's going to lay out even more stuff. But according to Goldman Sachs analysts, the best outcome of the 2024 presidential election, at least for the economy, would be a Harris win and a Democratic sweep of Congress. The worst scenario occurs when Trump gets into office and implements tougher controls on immigration and higher tariffs. Trump's economic proposals, they say, would increase the federal deficit by $5.8 trillion, almost 5 times more than Harris's proposals, which would add $1.2 trillion over the next decade. So, good news, good economic news, any good Harris news. Meanwhile, Kevin, you've all heard about this guy, Kevin Roberts, who is the head of the Heritage Foundation. He's also one of the principal architects of Project 2025. I mean, the Heritage Foundation pulled this thing together, and it was Kevin Roberts who, according to himself, was kind of the central organizing force, I guess, of the thing. And he apparently lived next door to some people who had a dog. This was back in 2004, who had given birth to puppies and was therefore kind of being protective of her puppies. She was barking a lot. So Kevin Roberts, the head of Heritage Foundation and the architect of Project 2024, had a dinner party, and this is what one of the people, this is Kenneth Hammond, who was with the university's history department. He says, my recollection of his account was that he was discussing in the hallway with various members of the faculty, including me, that a neighbor's dog had been barking pretty relentlessly and was, keeping the baby and probably the parents awake, and he kind of lost it and took a shovel and killed the dog. End of problem. So the magazine tracked down, or the newspaper tracked down the guy whose dog it was, who was his next door neighbor at the time. And the guy did not realize that Roberts had murdered his dog. But he said, yeah, definitely, my dog, Loca, my little female, I had one female, and that was her. She was a little thing like this. She was a tiny, cute thing. She went missing. We never could find her. So apparently Kevin not only murdered his neighbor's dog, but he buried it or disposed of it somehow. The neighbor is a guy named Daniel Aaron, and like I said, the Guardian tracked him down. And one of his neighbors, this is a former colleague who's now an environmental history professor, Marcia Weisinger. She said, my husband and I, and she heard Roberts tell this story at the dinner party too. And she said, my husband and I were stunned, first of all, that he would do such a thing, and second of all, that he would tell us about it. If I did something that horrific, I wouldn't be telling my colleagues about it. And she recalls saying that the neighbor also had puppies, and Roberts saying that he thought about going back and killing the puppies too, but decided that just killing the mother dog was enough. This is the guy who's the architect of Project 2025, killing his neighbor's dog with a shovel and then hiding it. And this was 20 years ago, right? This was in 2004. And it took 20 years for this guy to find out who killed his dog, Kevin Roberts' neighbor.